Now take a look. Now to explain, take a look now at the mystery. Again, 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 37. Again, and it reads, and that which thou sowest, and thou sowest, see this twice, thou sowest, not that body that shall be when it comes out of the womb, but bear grain. See, that grain is not that body, that it may chance a wheat or some other grain. That's the barley. That fulfills Revelation chapter 6, verse 6. I said there's a measure of wheat for a penny and 3 measures of barley for a penny. That's 3 measures. And here's the wheat as one measure, and the other grain is the barley with bare grain or some other grain. See, the other grain is the barley. That barley is also the same as barely. That means they would barely be the way that they are today when we enter into heaven, because we have to go through a change. A change. Going back to verse 38, but God giveth it a body, let's see, it a body as it hath pleased him, and to every seed his own body. Verse 39, see, all flesh is not the same flesh, but there's one kind of flesh of men, another flesh of beasts, and they're also walking on 2 legs. The men are walking on 2 legs, and the beasts are walking on 2 legs. The same beasts from Genesis chapter 1. Even chapter 3 of Genesis, the beast, like the serpent, was more subtle than any beasts of the field. 2 legs, same as chapter 1 in Genesis, beginning at verse 26. Another of fishes, and another of birds. At verse 40, there are also celestial bodies. Here we go. There are also celestial bodies, and bodies terrestrial. But the glory of the celestial is one, and the glory of the terrestrial is another. Now take a look at celestial. Although we now spell celestial not with a C, there's no more C. It was promised in the last days that there will be no more C, and that's a homophone for the 3rd English letter, C. This celestial word in Greek, translated from the original Greek, under G2032, eporeneos, it means existing in heaven, heavenly, things that take place in heaven, the heavenly regions, heaven itself, the abode of God and his angels. See, angels? That's why I hid the other L for the vowel of the veil, as in brown veil. I hid the other L in this word, angels, that you're going to see in a moment under change. Also the lower heavens of the stars, the heavens of the clouds, the heavenly temple or sanctuary of God. That's number 3, meaning subsection 2 of heavenly origin or nature. That's the celestial. The terrestrial is earthly. That's those of the planet. And see, that's proven under the Strong's Concordance G1919. That's G1919. That means existing upon the earth, earthly. That's earthly. And as etymology says, upon the earth, under the Greek word, abigios of Greek. Strong's G1919. That means that there will be some that would be earthly, terrestrial, that will even crucify or attempt to crucify our Lord by words and videos that he would put on Facebook. One in particular would be known as Adonai 720. He calls himself Adonai 720. Although terrestrial, as he was changed, before change, the name change, as promised in Isaiah chapter 44 and verse 5, he was given the name William Jackson, Willie J. Jackson, at birth. The J probably stands for jealous. Willie Jealous Jackson. Now let's go back to down again. Let's go down to verse 51 where we left off at. Same chapter, book, 1 Corinthians chapter 15. And again, I repeat, behold, I shew you a mystery. In fact, take a look up at verse 50 of 1 Corinthians 15 that says, I quote, Now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God, neither doth corruption inherit incorruption. So you see, flesh and blood I did not preserve to go with me to heaven, but only the celestial bodies, mine angels, are going to go with the change. And now verse 51, I repeat, verse 51, Behold, I shew you a mystery. We shall not all sleep. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. Hidden is changed. And finally, verse 52, when? Well, here's when, in a moment, with the yard. Remember the yard? The hand? In the twinkling of an eye, that's the yard. That's from left to right, Y-A-D. But from right to left, that's D-A-Y, like in a day. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, one eye. At the last trump. That means Trump, this Trump would be the last president of the United States before this happens. That's the last Trump. The first Trump was between 2017 and 2020. 21. January 20th, 2021. For the trumpet shall sound, and he is, all over the internet, all over the news media, all in the Oval Office, and all in the press room, the war room. And the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. I repeat, the last part says, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. End quote. So therefore, one mystery is the word change, without the D. That's change. This change is hidden under, this change that you see here in English with the D, and removing the D is change. It's taken from the Hebrew word that you'll find under H2498. That's 2498 as kalaf. Kalaf. It's spelled from right to left in Hebrew. That's Keth Lamet Kof Sophie. Again, Keth Lamet Kof Sophie. And it means to pass on or away. To pass through, to pass by, go through, grow up, change, and go to, on, from. And to pass on quickly. That's quickly, see, it's the twinkling of an eye. That means as my people today are looking for Passover during this month of the Gregorian calendar, March, it's going to be a Passover, but not like they think and know it to be. See, we're going to have a change. There's going to become a change. And there is no etymology of this change under H2498. You can look it up in your Strong Concordance. And you'll find this word, although the word itself in English, change, is found printed in the King James Version Holy Bible a total of 26 times and in 23 verses. The first is related to Jacob in Genesis chapter 35 and verse 2. Again, that's Genesis chapter 35 verse 2, and that reads, I quote, Then Jacob said unto his household and to all that were with him, what? Put away the strange gods that are among you, and be clean, and change your garments. That change, remember, it's like pass over, pass from your old garments to the new garments, as you wear purple. Now, this change also comes in another word that begins with sheen, as well as seen. Seen and sheen. In other words, take a look now at Job chapter 17. And here's where we'll find the hypocrites and the mockers like Adoniah 720, or a.k.a. Willie Jackson. Willie J. Jackson. Willie Jealous Jackson. So look at Job chapter 17, beginning at verse 1. And it reads, as I quote, "My breath is corrupt. My days are extinct. The graves are ready for me." See, that's speaking of the allegorical and the simile of Adoniah 720, also known as Willie J. Jackson. I'm reading for him. See, this chapter is in 2 to 3 different parts that are relative to this change, this yod. Don't you see days here in this verse 17:1 of Job? Days, there it is again. Just days, D-A-Y-S in English. That comes from the Hebrew word known as yom. Yom is spelled from right to left, Yod, Wav, Mem, Sophie. That you find at H3117, Yom. No etymology. That's spelled from left to right in English, Y-O-M. Y-O-M. Pronounced Yom. And don't you see me there as a day? If you look at the pronunciation in your strong concordance, it's Y-O-M-E, and you split that in half, separate the O from the M, and you have yo, me, a day. Remember, one day is as 1,000 years to me. One day. I'm also known as the spring day. I'm known as the bright and morning star. According to Revelation chapter 22, verse 16, I'm known as a day. One day is with the Lord 1,000 years. And remember the power. See, this power is hidden also in Acts chapter 1 that I was asked a question. When I was asked a question by one of my disciples, as I was departing over 2026 years ago, in Acts chapter 1, I was asked, who's going to restore the kingdom? Take a look as we pause here for a moment from Job chapter 17. Take a look up at verse 6 of Acts chapter 1 that says, I quote, "When they therefore were come together, they asked of him, saying, Lord, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel?" Again, I repeat verse 6. "When they therefore were come together, they asked of him, saying, Lord, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel?" Question. And verse 7, "And he said unto them," that's unto, not to them. Unto mean they had to go through an unconditional time tunnel. They go through time. Unto them. "It is not for you to know the times or the seasons." These are the same times and the seasons that are hidden in Daniel chapter 7, verse 25, that he think to change times and seasons and laws. Here it is. Now you know who the he is. Again, "And he said unto them, It is not for you to know the times or the seasons which the Father hath put in his own power, in his own hand." Now you know who it is. In the hands of my people, in the hands of whose hand? And you see that Daniel chapter 7:25 is cryptic. You could never decipher that. Only the one who hid it and closed it and told Daniel to seal it, according to chapter 12 and verse 4 of Daniel. But your Father has put in his own hand his own power. See it there? But ye shall receive power. After that the Holy Ghost is come upon you, and ye shall be witnesses of you. See, all of you who are ye are going to be witnesses of the you. It shall come upon you, and ye shall be witnesses unto me, both in the United States, in the middle of Jerusalem, USA, Jerusalem, and all you dear of the ghettos in America, black, so-called black African-American people in South America as well, SAMARIA, South America, and to the uttermost part of the earth, end quote. You can read the rest of it on your own. You'll find out how a cloud came and received me out of their sight as I went up in what they call a UFO today, a spaceship. Now go back to Job chapter 17, so we can finish this in conclusion as I show you this mystery of this change. What you thought the time changed, it did not. They moved the clock 1 hour forward. Verse 2. Start over again at verse 1. Job chapter 17, verse 1. See, my breath is corrupt. That's Adoniah 7:20. Willie Jackson. My days are extinct. The graves are ready for me. Verse 2. And there are not markers with me? Are there not markers with me? See it there? And does not mine eye continue in their provocation? That's verse 2. Verse 3. Lay down now. Put me in a surety with thee. Who is he that will strike hands with me? See the hands again? For thou hast hid their heart from understanding. Now it's speaking entirely of someone different. Therefore shalt thou not exalt them. Now it's speaking of me. The question was asked as I was asked before of other questions. And here's the answer in verse 4. The question asked in verse 3, I'm answering verse 4. For thou hast hid their heart from understanding. Therefore shalt thou not exalt them. You have to know the mystery of the name Job. When you see a job, yeah, you need a job. You don't know the mystery of Y-O-B. Y-O-B. There are initials and letters that mean something else. That's Y. The Y itself is Yod. The O is a circle, and the B are all the Beth Nun Sophit and Bath Nun Sophit, as well as all the bastards with the B. Even those that will be. And verse 5. He that speaketh flattery to his friends, just like Adoniah. 7:20. Even the eyes of his children shall fail. He hath made me also a byword of the people, and aforetime I was as a tarbet. See, he made me a byword, as in false prophet, Charles L. Johnson, a cult leader, a byword.
Shalom, Israel. What's up, YouTube? Adonai 710 with another community link. As y'all see on the screen, family, y'all see the infamous false prophet, Mika Israel.
Verse 7, mine eye. See, that's personal, it's mine. It's mine eye. Also is dim by reason of sorrow. I mean, I can't see their sorrows. I cannot see their sorrows. I have no pity for them. And all my members are as a shadow. I don't see even my members. See, my members are with me. They left. They became now a shadow in the valley of the shadow of death. Upright men, in verse 12. Up in verse 8. Upright men shall be astonished at this. And the innocent shall stir up himself against the hypocrite. See, hypocrite? That's Adonai. He's a hypocrite. How is he a hypocrite? Because in the year 2020 and 2019, he was following and was a member of Yahweh ben Yahweh. He was following and studying the Yahweh ben Yahweh. And I have people here that are with me who can confirm this truth, that he was texting them and converting them, trying to convert them to come over to where he is and leave me. to come to what he was doing, studying the Yahweh ben Yahweh. Yeah, there are some witnesses here that can attest to this truth and confirm it.
Against this fool who calls himself Adonai 720. And pay attention to his mind. We have the receipts. We go as far back as 2020. In August 27, he texts me on Messenger saying Boca Toba. And it goes further down as we communicate past this point. He's asking me how long I've been part of the nation, which I haven't been part of the nation, but I go further to let him know who I serve and who I'm here with. And he goes further on to basically trying to bring me into the knowledge of who he think Yahweh ben Yahweh is at the time. Now he consistently and perpetually keeps messaging me, trying to teach me of who he think at the time is Yahweh ben Yahweh. And we have the receipts. You can see all the messages here, which I'll post on the screen. Now, all of a sudden, not only is he against Mika Yahweh, Mika Israel, but now his mind is switched all the way against who he showed to be serving or following in 2020. This is the type of people y'all following. Don't be deceived. This mind, like it says, a double-minded man is double-minded in all his ways. So, again, this is Adonai in 2020 trying to recruit me.
Verse 9, Job chapter 17, or Job chapter 17, verse 9. See, the righteous also shall hold on his way, and he that hath clean hands, shall be stronger and stronger. Verse 10. But as for you all, do ye return? Do ye return? And come now, for I cannot find one wise man among you. But ye won't return. I can't find one wise man among you, my people in the circle. My days are past. My purposes are broken off. Even the thoughts of my heart. See here, they change. They thought they changed the night into day. That's daylight savings time. See, it's here in the Bible. It's nothing new under the sun. It's Ecclesiastes. Nothing new under the sun. I repeat, they changed the night into day. The light is short because of darkness, and they call it today daylight saving time. That means in the spring, they change their clock, not the time, they change their clock and put it forward 1 hour because the night, they change the night into day. And in the fall, they move it back 1 hour. That the light is now short because of darkness. Verse 13, if I wait, the grave is mine house. I have made my bed in the darkness. I have said to corruption, thou art my father. Now we're right back in the first part of those like Adonai. I have said to corruption, thou art my father. That means Adonai's father's name is corruption. And to the worm, thou art my mother. Why the worm? Because he was deep into the bottomless pit. He was in the pit, but there's nothing in the dirt and the pit but worms. And my sister, worms, deep pit. And I pulled him out. Get them off! I let him loose. And after he came up from the pit, he brought worms with him. Worms. Yes, he did. Why is that? Because this worm that you see in English, spelled from left to right, W-O-R-M, was taken from a Hebrew word known as Remah. Remah, spelled from right to left in Hebrew. Resh, Mem, He. Remah. You can find it on Strong's H7415, 7415, and it means maggot, like worm, as cause and sign of decay, being in the pit for thousands of years. Comes from the etymology word Rambam, spelled from right to left in Hebrew, Resh, Mem, Sophie, known as to be exalted, to be lifted up himself. Lifted up himself. See, to lift oneself. Under Strong H7426. So So he lifted up himself to become Adonai, 720. That's who he wants to be. And to be exalted, even under the other etymological reason or word, to give himself room. The other etymology is under H7311 as room. From right to left, Resh, Vav, Mem, Sophie, pronounced room. He gave himself enough room to rise up and to be high, be lofty, and be exalted. And that's who he wants to be, to raise himself up and to extol himself, be lifted up. That's worm. That comes from the English word that you only knew of that's called worm. And that's with the Mem, Sophie at the end, or the Mem. And with the D on the end of W-O-R-M, if I remove the M in place of D, now you have the word that those beings will also stand for as the word at the end, E-N-D, as a worm. You have W-O-R-M, the Mem, Sophie, or Mem, and you have W-R-D at the end that also lifts himself up. In verse 15. And where is now my hope? As for my hope, who shall see it? That's him asking the question. And finally, verse 16. They shall go down to the bars of the pit. See, I was not making it up. See the pit? When our rest together is in the dust. Now you see, that's the pit. That I know the word because I see it. Here it is. He come out of the pit, and worms came up with him that became his mother, and with corruption as his father and my sister. He also has with him. Now let's go to the word change itself. This change, this word change, opposed to Genesis chapter 35, this change is taken from the Hebrew word that begins with sheen and is known as, in the West, as seeing. That's som or samsom. And it means to put, place, and set, also to appoint and to make. To put, to lay, and to put or lay upon, and direct toward, extend, and compassion, figuratively. To set at a station, and to set in place, and plant and fix it in place. To set or make for a sign, and I'm doing just that. To bring and to pass, to bring to pass. I'm bringing to pass. Appoint and give. This is all hidden under the change. No etymology. Again, that's H7760, where you'll find that meaning of change. 7760. And another Hebrew word for change that is empowered with sheen is in Proverbs. And that would be in Proverbs chapter 24, verse 21. That says, I quote, my son, fear thou the Lord, Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh. If you look at that meaning of Lord in the Hebrew lexicon or in the Strong Concordance, under H3068, it says Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh. You have to know who that is, and the king. And meddle not with them that are given to change. This change is taken from the Hebrew word hidden under Strong's H8138. I show you a mystery. This change means to repeat and do again, and to alter, A-L-T-E-R. So that's the change that's going to be altered. It's to alter and to disguise oneself. No etymology, again, that's H8138. Sanah, spelled from right to left in Hebrew. Sheen, Nun, He. Shana, to repeat and to do again. We're getting ready to do something again, like another exodus out of Egypt, as it was the first time. Another exodus, but this time for only the children of Israel, not the whole tribe of Judah. only the children of Israel, you must know who that is. And finally, those would be angels. Now I'm going to go back as I said I would and get that L that we took out of Ville, out of V-I-L-L-E from Brownsville, and we're going to take one of those L's and come back with a vowel. And we're going to put that L at the end of the change. And then we're going to separate the A from the H. And we're going to separate the C from the H. And now we have a CH angel. A CH angel. And without that CH angel, we could not get to Genesis chapter 16 and verse 17. Take a look. That's the first place. Genesis chapter 16, verse 7, that says, and I quote, and the angel of the Lord, the same Lord, found her by a fountain of water in the wilderness, by the fountain and the way to Shur. See the angel? And this particular angel is found 1,707 times in 192 verses of subject with the C and the H. All prophetical and waiting. This is the angel. It's the same angel in Exodus chapter 3, verse 2. So it's going to be the same Exodus. And that reads, Exodus chapter 3, verse 2, it reads, I quote, and the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. End quote. And that is the key and the secret of what is now found in Malachi chapter 3 and verse 6. And that's, again, dealing with change. And the bush was not consumed. So we take a look at Malachi chapter 3 and verse 6. Are the sons of Jacob consumed? Take a look. I'll read, I quote, for I am the Lord, I change not. Therefore you sons of Jacob are not consumed. And there you have it, all put together for you in a mystery. And the rest is prophetical to be fulfilled. You'll have to come to me for that knowledge and mystery. I'm not going to disclose that on this international website. If I did, my promise would also have to be kept that whosoever shall call the name of the Lord shall be saved and or delivered. And that's all I have to say. To wit, you cannot prove morally, righteously, and justly, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that I am not the son of the God of the Hebrews, until you can prove righteously, morally, justly, beyond a shadow of a doubt, who is the son of the God of the Hebrews.